Hi everyone, welcome to TUTs Taurus Unlimited Tutorials. Today we're going to be making this logo here with these shadow effects. I'm just going to drag this off to the side here. This logo can be great for typography logos or posters or things like that. This looks a lot like the Google symbol here. I'm just going to go ahead and drag that off to the side now. Alright, we're going to start new with a circle. So we're going to use the ellipse tool. Just going to make this 400 by 400 pixels here. That looks good. I'm going to go ahead and align it to the center of the page. We can actually use our align tool. Just select align to artboard. So I'm just going to change this to the color black. Um, there we go. Just make sure that this has all zeros. That looks good. So now I'm just going to change this to only have a stroke. So go ahead and flip that. We're going to give this a stroke of about 80 points. That looks good. Very thick. And now we're going to, basically we need to cut this into pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select this. We're going to use our rulers to kind of get a shape here in between these points. So in between the middle of this point here, let me go ahead and get the direct selection tool, this point, and then the other point here. So a line through the center of this object here. So we're just going to go ahead and get our rulers out. You can, I already have them selected, so it says hide rulers, but you can select it a few different ways. I think Command R, um, you see it says Command R there. I think that'll hide and show the rulers there for us. So we'll go ahead and get our rulers, and we'll go ahead and make some squares around this area here. So just drag these out onto the screen. It's very simple. They just kind of snap to these smart guides that we have here. Just add a couple more of these to really isolate this section here. That looks good. And one more. I think I'll actually add another one down there. So let's see. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. So now what we can do with these is we can get the pen tool and we can actually just draw a line from point to point right through the object, and that'll kind of let us dissect this later. So to do that, we're actually going to use the shape tool. I find that that's really the simplest way to do it. So what we want to do is really just want to select everything that we have here. Go ahead and zoom in and get rid of some of these. I just want to see where I want to put my line here. That looks good. So we'll go ahead and we'll select all of this, delete our guides here. Oops, there we go. Looks good. So now that we have this selected, let's go ahead and do our shape tool. And we'll just click here. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to delete those two sections that we made. And I did that by just deleting the point. So it made that little triangle. I just deleted the point, and now I'll delete these little bits. Great, that looks perfect. Now we'll select the pen tool, and we'll turn this into a G by using our smart guides. There we go, and that's just added it to our path there. Now that we have this, we need to convert it into a shape. Best way to do that is to type in outline stroke, and then we'll hit enter. And now we've converted this into a shape. It looks exactly like the one that we have over there. Perfect. So now the next step is to create these shadows that we have here. Actually, before we do that, we'll actually cut this in half. So we'll go ahead and we will grab some more guides here. This is just for design purposes to make this similar to the first one that we had. That looks good. Just do a couple more. Then I'm going to go ahead and move these two guides that I just made. I'm going to select them, move them over. That looks good. And in this section here is where I'll make my cut. So we'll do that with the pen tool again, just like we did with the other part of the G that we made when we cut that out. So this looks good. I like this path here. And we're going to use the shape tool again, and we're just going to hit plus on both sides and then change the color back to black. It's changed it to white. Let's go ahead and change that back. Just click on both of these and go over here and select black again. Whoops. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and delete these little stray bits that are hanging on. And now we have two pieces. So I'll show you that. You see how these pieces are in there. What we're going to do is we're actually going to hit Command X and then paste in place. And that's going to make sure that these aren't grouped into any of those strange groupings that we have in our layers panel. So now we know that these are two separate objects, and we're not going to have any issue colorizing them or adding shadows to them or anything like that. So the next step is to go ahead and change the color of this so that we can kind of see what we're working with. So I'll use this. Well, looks pretty good. At least I can see it now. So we're going to go ahead and give this another cut. So I'm just going to zoom in here. I'm going to cut this piece out. Let's see here. That looks pretty good. We'll keep that. I don't want to take too long on it. You could really perfect this for hours, but I think that looks good. We'll just use the same technique we did before with the shape tool. Go ahead and make sure that this is colorized again. It seems to want to make that white every time that we do that. That just has to do with the settings that are selected when you use the shape tool. So I'll just paste that back in place. And then we'll go ahead and change the color again, just like we did before. Great, so these are all three separate pieces now. It looks just like we have over there. So now we're ready to add these shadows. I'm just going to give this the same color as our other shape here, just for time's sake, since I've already selected these colors. Be much easier. And I just selected these in the swatches panel. And just kind of manipulated the colors a little bit. There we go. That looks good. We're just going to create these ellipses. This is what's going to create our shadows. We're going to go over to swatches and make this black, but make sure that you have, I'll show you here. Make sure that you have this global check marked when we do this. And then we're going to actually apply a Gaussian blur. I applied a Gaussian blur of 15 pixels. I'll show you in a bit what happens if you apply something else, but this looks pretty good. So I'll go ahead and put this over the G. Right about here looks pretty good. We can see here how that's nice and feathered, but if I were to go back and apply a stronger blur, so right now I have 15, if I make this 25, you can see we get this hard edge all around the shape here, and that's really not what we want. To do that, if you do get this, to fix it, all you want to do is you just want to lower that radius down. I'm just going to revert it back to the 15 pixels that we had before, because what I did was I just basically applied two gradients on top of each other. All right, so this looks good. We're going to go ahead and apply a mask to this shape, and we're going to mask out the piece that we want it to show in. So we'll click Make Masks under the Transparency tool, and then we're going to copy and paste in place the shape that we want it to fill. And we don't want it to exceed that shape. So we'll just copy and paste it after selecting this box. So I hit Paste in Place. That looks great. We'll go ahead and change this to multiply in a second here. I think that would look a little bit better. There we go. So we want to make sure that we have that unlinked. So if we do have it linked, we move the whole entire mask, which is not what we want. We really just want to move the shadow for now. So go ahead and make sure that they're unlinked by clicking that little box there. And we'll zoom in here and kind of manipulate this shadow a bit. Just move it around a little bit. Going to give it a slight curve like we do on the original one that I made. Just move this point up a bit. Move this one down a little bit. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to do the exact same thing with the other one, but go ahead and make sure that you have the clipping enabled back on that mask so that when we resize it, the mask now moves with it. So we can see now that the mask actually moved when we resize the shape. It wouldn't be there if we had not selected that clip again. So we'll do the exact same thing that we did with the other one. We'll just create an ellipse, give it a Gaussian blur of 15, and oops. Do the same thing again with the mask, just copy it in place. Go up here. That looks great. Now I'll just manipulate this. Make it look a little bit closer to the one that we made before. Give this more of a pleasing shape. I'm going to drag these handles out here. Move it down a bit. Kind of want to give it a curve. That looks good. I'm happy with that. All right, and now we can see that these are both the same. I'm just going to go ahead and place these in our canvas here. Oops, make sure that I have all of it selected. Oh, looks good. All right. You can see here now that we have our finished product. So I hope you enjoyed this. You can apply this to a lot of different things. You don't even have to apply it to letters. You can apply this to your illustrations as well to add those shadows in and use this masking technique. I think this is great, definitely, if you have some kind of monogram logo or something that you want to make look a little bit more interesting. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give this a video like, subscribe. I'm releasing new videos every week. I'm going to try to get some more videos out there very soon, so make sure to look for those. All right, that's it. Join us next time at Taurus Unlimited Tutorials, and I'll see you then.